Delete all IP law, cries Jack Dorsey, a man worth $3.8 billion who holds 81 patents. Yes, cries Elon Musk, a man worth 100 times as much.
Wait.
But why? Why would two people who benefit so much from the IP system want to delete all of intellectual property law? The answer, of course, is
AI.
World domination is upon us. All we can do is run.
Autonomous weapons that operate using AI with no humans required.
AI is far more dangerous than nukes.
What is reality? What is truth? These tools are going to get so good that you won't be able to tell.
I'm a big fan of AI tools. Here's me talking about it about 2 years ago, and I've been able to use it so much in grad school to take math-heavy lecture notes and work them into easier to understand and easier to follow notes. I've been able to use it as a better search engine, like when I want to match recipes to my skill sets and my tastes. Also, it made my dad into this tennis ball. Applying a trivial amount of effort to produce something really interesting or fun is great. Even if a lot of the advertised use cases for generative AI have been pretty dumb, this is one of the main purposes of technology. For a small fee, buy some time back into your life. But in all of that excitement, it's easy to forget that AI outputs come from somewhere. At a super simple level, large language models, or LLMs, learn from large corpuses of text to identify patterns. This is also how image-based models work. They look for patterns within their input data, and both types of models use those patterns to reassemble what they've learned into a new output. It's not thinking in the way that we do. Instead, it's reassembling what it's been able to glean from the work that it was trained on. Without that training data, the articles, books, magazines, and images, these models don't work. More importantly, without a continuous stream of data, these models begin to be out of date, outpaced by their competitors, or even lead to model collapse. So, where do AI companies get this data? In the news, we can see a ton of payments being made. In that list are Google's $60 million deal with Reddit to use their posts and comments to train their AI model, as well as OpenAI's $5 to $10 million a year deal with the Financial Times. But there are numerous allegations of AI companies using content without payment or permission. In the roughly 2 years since ChatGPT came out and contemporaries soon followed, there have been at least 20 major lawsuits launched against OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, and other AI companies. The plaintiffs on these suits include major media organizations like Thomson Reuters, as well as organizations that represent smaller creators like the Authors Guild. Some of the bigger allegations on that list include full regurgitation of paywalled articles from the New York Times on ChatGPT, as well as Meta torrenting 81 terabytes of data from LibGen. So, not everyone knows what a terabyte is. I recently upgraded to the new 256 gigabyte iPhone. Suppose you had 300 of those iPhones. That still wouldn't be 81 terabytes. Jack Dorsey and more obviously Elon Musk are really heavily involved in the AI space. Non-exhaustively, Jack's company Square, now Block, recently released an open source framework for people to build their own AI agents called Goose. Cool. Musk actually co-founded OpenAI back in 2015, soon left due to potential conflicts of interest with Tesla's own AI work, and soon launched his own AI company, xAI, in 2023. Random fact 1. Jack Dorsey might have seen those 500K or Dinner with Jay-Z memes because his company, Block, acquired a majority stake in Tidal, a music streaming service, for which copyright is pretty important. So why, again, would two people who benefit so much from IP want to get rid of it? Stringing together a set of tweets from Jack Dorsey and his replies, as well as some public commentary from Elon, their main argument appears to be this. IP is used as a tool by large corporations to gatekeep good ideas and suppress innovation through rent-seeking measures. This prevents open source collaboration, remixes, and derivatives while spurning bogus claims to silence critics. Without IP protections, innovation would be supported because people would be able to innovate quicker and more freely. There is actually decent merit to this claim. A lot of YouTubers have complained about YouTube's copyright system, which allows for a pretty easy takedown of what are fair use videos. And even outside of YouTube, there have been some pretty egregious attempts at IP abuse. Years ago, a US voting machine company attempted to sue for copyright infringement when emails revealing that there were security flaws leaked. And for years, Warner Music enforced copyright over the Happy Birthday song, and the lawsuit that came out of that case revealed that they never actually owned the copyright to begin with. Even unsuccessful IP abuse claims can stifle creativity and hamper output, because the mere threat of an IP abuse claim can mean a tremendous amount of time and money that most people don't have. If copyright, patents, and trademarks were truly just used by large corporations to stifle smaller creators, then Elon and Jack would have a really good point here. Unfortunately, they seem to miss a few things. First, there are a tremendous amount of open source frameworks that were created in the age of IP and continue to be created. The Linux operating system, the Blender animation software, as well as the Python programming language, just to name a few, all exist as open source projects despite the existence of IP protections. Critically, the creators of these projects chose to make them open source. It wasn't taken from them. In an economy where big is used to prefix pharma and tech and so many other industries, larger corporations win on manpower, speed, and resources. The only edge that a smaller creator or new entrant to the market has is their innovation. Even in music, essentially every label-signed musician was signed as an artist because music labels had to do that in order to use and promote their work. IP protection, while often abused to stifle derivative work, has also often been the only basis through which smaller creators can enforce any kind of ownership over their work. Like in 2016, Tuesday Basson's allegations against Zara that her designs had been used without her permission. Killing IP protection could mean that music, designs, and technology could be ripped off pretty much immediately with no compensation. We'd probably see a huge drop in innovation because people would be less inclined to share their work. Why would they if a large corporation could pick up what they worked on and profit off of it? This probably wouldn't kill creation altogether. Tons of artists, authors, developers, and other creators tend to create and share their work because they love what they do. But using that work without attributing credit or giving any kind of compensation would be exploiting the kindness and ingenuity of those creators. It would also mean diverting the profits of what is already a pretty sparsely compensating art industry to a select few who already had resources. This would also mean a huge drop in the amount of original work that's being created and an increased proportion of AI garbage. I want Good Kid Mad City, not whatever the hell that is. Jack and Elon also seem to forget that not everybody has gigantic companies that can help them create and compete. In 2014, Elon famously announced that all of Tesla's patents would be available to use. Specifically, companies that want to use Tesla's patents have to sign a patent pledge that basically lets them use your patents as well. The idea is, let's spur innovation together. But this is corporation versus corporation. Designs that require tens of thousands of dollars to even think about. Even though I could access Tesla's designs right now, I'm not building a Tesla Roadster in my backyard anytime soon. My friends are too dumb. In contrast, it would be super easy for me to rip off and recreate somebody's image, video, or song. People are doing this already. So altogether, while flawed, the IP system seems to be providing a lot of important protection to creators. Getting rid of IP law altogether would be a bit like noticing some design flaws with Cybertrucks and instead of just doing some recalls, burning down every Tesla plant in the country.
And a 2, and a 1, 2.
The quiet part. The unspoken part about all of this seems to be a global arms race towards AI development. Foundational AI tools like ChatGPT, but also Claude and Gemini, aim to be able to fulfill any request and be the one-stop shop for your AI needs. In the long term, we probably won't see as many AI companies. There are feedback loops. Better AI companies will attract more users, get more data, and in turn become better AI. We'll see platform lock-in. People will continue to use the platforms that they become comfortable with and be less likely to switch. It's also insanely expensive to build these models, so it's unlikely that many people are able to compete, whether that's building the models or hiring the talent capable of doing so. Microsoft, supporting OpenAI, is on its way to building a $100 billion data center, and Amazon has already pitched plans to spend the same amount on cloud and AI infrastructure. That concentration risk is not only challenging to companies that seek to be dominant, but countries that seek to control and to not be controlled. In the last few years, we've seen AI completely reshape labor markets, with some sources estimating that 1 in 8 jobs could be under risk of AI automation. We've also seen AI's potential to reshape cultural narratives and distort what people believe to be true, like deepfakes on Facebook. A lot of these are getting better, and we've actually already reached the point where we don't agree on what is real or what is fake. The ability to really quickly create code or really convincing fakes is also a threat to cybersecurity and surveillance. From a $25 million deepfake scam at Arup Engineering in 2024 to France's plans to extend AI-based surveillance over the next couple years. Primarily, China has shown remarkable speed in developing its own AI systems like DeepSeek that purport to have similar performance to ChatGPT 4o with a fraction of the cost. The unspoken part about innovation is this. Copyright is a barrier that is enforced more heavily in the US than in other AI leading nations. Because of that, it stands in the way of national and market dominance. It would be a lot easier for AI companies, as well as those with an interest in US dominance, if it didn't exist.
The only problem is, I can't remember what I've forgotten.
What they seem to forget is that artistic works have tremendous amounts of value, not just in their final form, but in the labor, choices, and life experiences that end up getting reflected in those works. These show the iteration, skill building, and mastery over time. When the New York Times publishes an investigative piece, its value isn't just what's seen on the page. It's the months of research, fact-checking, trust built up with sources, legal reviews, and a career of crafting up journalistic skills. When Coralie Farge's The Substance uses a bunch of disoriented fisheye shots, this reflects not only what we see, but decades of experimental film and horror movie history, as well as technical execution to make it compelling. Look how much thought went into a single corridor scene, as she notes the ability to film the body through aerobic scenes, a particular use of perspective to symbolize domination, the hallway shot to indicate where her main character's life has been and where she is now, as well as the use of orange based on the film worlds like Star Wars that impacted her in her childhood. By the way, watch that movie, super gross, but very good. Even when Kendrick and Drake went at it last year, part of what made that beef so exciting wasn't just the songs. It was the fact that it was building on a culture of high quality works, a decade of conflict building up as both artists built their writing and careers up in different directions, and finally culminated in this crazy series that really got me through my econ finals. So pretty interesting around this beef were deviations from standard copyright enforcement. Metro Boomin released his own beat based on an AI-generated sample that anybody could make derivative songs of, and Kendrick's label UMG chose to not enforce copyright on Not Like Us derivatives for the first month of it being out. Critically, they chose to do this. It wasn't taken from them. Even if you somehow don't buy into artistic value at all, objectively, these AI models cannot exist without the works that they're trained on. So just as Elon Musk's Tesla pays for the input materials that go into the cars, and Jack Dorsey pays the software engineers that work at Block, people pay for the fundamentally valuable inputs that they benefit and profit from. Faking or stealing those works isn't just wrong, it comes with a tremendous amount of artistic loss.
I declare...
Random fact 2. In 2023, Elon Musk made an indication that OpenAI was using copyrighted works to train their models, and when asked about the lawsuits surrounding this space, he said, and I quote, "By the time these lawsuits are decided, we'll have digital God. So we can ask digital God at that point." Elon is at least right about the lawsuits. These legal battles, duked out by some of the most expensive law firms in the world, take a really, really long time. As I make this video, the House Energy and Commerce Committee is proposing a 10-year state law moratorium on AI regulation, so all regulation or deregulation will be unified and made at the national level. U.S. Copyright Office head Shira Perlmutter recently released a report where she questioned the fair use of training works in AI, noting that not everything would be fair use. She was promptly fired by the Trump administration. Senate Democrats sent a very strongly worded letter to the White House. And following corporate contributions of $1 million each from Amazon, Meta, and Alphabet, as well as personal contributions of $1 million from OpenAI's Sam Altman and Apple's Tim Cook, as well as a $250 million contribution from Elon Musk, the Trump admin's executive orders seem to be working in their favor, with a recent executive order dismantling copyright protections that had been extended during the Biden administration. But it doesn't have to be all that bad. Advocacy groups like the Authors Guild or the Screen Actors Guild are pushing for policies that better protect artists in the age of AI training. Artists can also check really easily whether their work has been used in models on sites like Have I Been Trained. Artists are also leading the development of model licensing tools where artists can choose to give their work to AI, and consent is key. Providing your work to AI doesn't seem to be an inherently bad thing, but artists can retain the right to choose. So regardless of what Musk and Dorsey may want, copyright is not dead yet. If you're someone who has the ingenuity and drive to create, or you're a friend of someone who does, your best bet is to know the value of your works. You should know how to protect them, and you should know that you deserve the right to choose whether it's going to be used for AI training. You don't have to be bogged down by the political or corporate nature of this space or even the legalese. At the end of the day, companies are asking to hugely profit from an input without payment or permission. Massive licensing deals like that between Google and Reddit, or the FT and OpenAI, prove that licensing is always an option. Ultimately, there's a path forward where artists who are interested in maintaining the integrity of their works and model builders who are interested in quick, efficient AI development can both be happy.